Hare Krishna. So we will continue our discussion on the light of Bhagavad. We had discussed till text 10. Today we will take up text 11 today. In the rainy season, when the rivers swell and rush to the ocean, and as the wind blows the waves about, the ocean appears to be agitated. Similarly, if a person engaged in the mystic yoga process is not very advanced in spiritual life, he can be affected by the modes of nature and thus will be agitated by the sex impulse. A person fixed in spiritual knowledge will not be attracted by the allurement of material nature in the form of beautiful women and sex pleasure enjoyed in their association. One, however, who is still immature in the cultivation of spiritual knowledge may be attracted at any moment by the illusion of temporary happiness. Just as an ocean is agitated by the rushing rivers and the blowing wind that occur during the rainy season, it is therefore very important to fix oneself at the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master who is a representative of God, so that one will not be carried away by sex agitation. In the rainy season, when the rivers swell and rush to the ocean, and as the wind blows the waves about, the ocean appears to be agitated. Similarly, a person engaged in the mystic yoga process is not very advanced in spiritual life. He can be affected by the modes of nature and thus will be agitated by the sex impulse. The analogy which Sukadeva Goswami Maharaj is describing here is very, very apt and instructive because it is explained here that even an ocean appears to be agitated. Even an ocean, if an ocean is not spared from agitation, who can remain who can remain free from this powerful waves of agitation? So, what to say of a river? We have seen Mother Ganges. Sometimes the water flows toward the direction of the ocean. Sometimes the water flows against the direction of the ocean. So sometimes the Mother Ganges water is going this way. Sometimes the water goes the other way. It's high tide, low tide. It happens like that. So therefore, sometimes on one particular in a particular direction of journey, it's towards the river flow. Sometimes it is against the flow because the ocean water is coming in the river. High tide, low tide. When we went to Panihati in the cruiser, and I saw that. So so it's like so what to say of a river? River is completely thrown apart. You know? The ocean enters the river. The river is completely thrown apart. The ocean is agitated. Who said nobody is spared? So therefore, in this material world, we can see nobody is spared. This agitation, sex desire, very very strong. this particular agitation of sex desire very, very strong. Nobody is swayed by it. Lord Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita that these sensual agitations are so strong, they're like a wind, and they blow away the senses, even of a man of discrimination and learning. And in the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Maharaj Jadavara describes that even if one is taking sannyas, still that desire for family life based on sex life does not go away. That desire for family life based on sex life does not go away. Even if one has taken sannyas, just like a pot in which camphor is kept, the camphor is removed, but the smell still remains, it doesn't go away. Or a pot of liquor, the smell doesn't go away. Similarly, this attraction for family life is very strong, that it doesn't. And this family life is the family life which is based out of sex life. So the senses are very, very strong. And one should never underestimate the power of the senses. And therefore, one should very strictly follow the principles of Maryada which are set by the Acharyas. The principles of Lakshman Rekha which are set by the Acharyas. Yesterday, Surya Siddhartha Maharaj was also stressing on following our vows very strictly. In Bhakti, the stricter we follow the principles laid out by the Acharyas, the spiritual advancement and the experience of spiritual life, it's very easy to advance. But the more we take it in an easygoing way, it will become increasingly difficult to advance. So two aspects are being spoken about. One is the wind and one is the rivers. The wind is very much like the flow of the situations, the various events and situations which come in our life. That's not completely in our hands. That's not at all in our hands. What kind of situations are going to come in our life? It's not in all in our hands. The next day, what situation will come? The next day, what situation will come? So it's completely beyond our hands. And these winds act like a tornado or a typhoon many times, in jolting a person completely. Just like we saw in 2020 when the COVID came. We had also planned for Utkarsha camp. We had announced Utkarsha camp and Surti had happened. We had announced Utkarsha camp. But even before we could register, there was a full shutdown. So these situations, they come, uh, the situations become, and we understand by these situations, we can understand how we are bound in this material world, how there are these upheavals. So the situations in life can agitate us very profusely. And there is this birth, old age, disease, and death, which we interface either for ourselves or for our known ones. No? Birth, old age, disease, death. These are all winds. His Holiness Bhakti Prem Maharaj was mentioning that how this material world is like a prison. What are four walls of this prison? Birth, old age, disease, death are the four walls of this prison, which we can experience, we are bound. So these situations, various situations come forth in our life which are out of our control, and they give us the understanding, or they can give us a complete realization that we are bound actually. So even an ocean can get agitated by this. When there is so typhoons and hurricanes do act on the ocean only, whereas even the ocean can get agitated. What to say of any one of us? So these situations may be very tormenting, may be overthrowing and uprooting us. Situations may be very tormenting, overthrowing and uprooting us. Uh, so that is one thing. The second thing which is being mentioned here is that river waters. River waters. So these river waters swell and they connect to the ocean. They create disturbance in the ocean. This is very much equivalent to the uh, uh, very much equivalent to relations, because we see in life things are going very peacefully. Then somebody connects in our life as a lover, as a spouse, as a counselor, whatever, Uh, and in new relationship, anybody adds on, we one is very much prone to be disturbed or affected by that. One is by what is happening. I mean, one is, and definitely one is affected by the existing context. That is definitely one is because we see in a community, if one person is agitated, the waves of agitation are spread all over. So we see the community, everything is infectious. So one person gets disease, the infection spreads. So in the same way, one person is affected wrongly, uh, the trouble gets conducted to everyone else around us also. So like that, that's how we have to understand that we are when we are in a community, in association of devotees, we have a great responsibility not to allow ourselves to be callously agitated, because uh, we are we are incurring the disease. It is going to trouble others around us unnecessarily. It is going to trouble others. So we have seen, like one person becomes critical, that critical wave gets spread, and others also get infected. It's like a disease. Uh, it's like a disease. One person gets uh, like in Delhi, there was a very big councillor, preacher, powerful, one point of time he got illusioned. He went out of his car. 256 16 rounders he took along with him. 250 16 rounders. Initially devotees. Some Radha Kunda, some Gopi Bhav, some so so one person he went out of his car. 250 16 rounders he just uprooted them, from proper shit. And so one person, one person actually. So this is like rivers. So yes, because we're all connected. Rivers. 250 each ordered. You've seen in our KGP community also. Mhm. So one devotee got bewildered. He left ISKCON. He took, I think, how much? At least half a dozen. At least half a dozen devotees like this point, along with his life. Plus six. At least half a dozen. And it all happened here itself. New Aipu. Like that. So you see, nothing Radha Bhav. Some people think in ISKCON it takes long time to go to back to God. So they hear advertisements from they huh? Yeah. So they hear advertisements from Vrindavan. They say, okay, in 4 years you can develop Gopi Bhav, Radha Bhav, So like that. They feel okay, you know, in 4 years let me enter the Rasalila, or let me, have that Gopi Bhav, So 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, let me get Radha Bhav and all that. So they feel that ISKCON, is not, huh? 2 years, 2 years. 2 years you don't get BTech degree also. What you will get Radha Bhav, Gopi Bhav. So this is these are diseases, very infectious diseases, terrible diseases, and a person can get infected. Therefore, it is very important that we take care of our individual spiritual health. So if we become reckless and callous in our own spiritual life and spiritual practices towards sense gratification or towards this kind of illusory proposals or illusory waves, then what is going to happen is it may be very detrimental, and we may end up in giving a lot of trouble to many devotees as well. So therefore, these relations are like rivers. All relations are like rivers. It can agitate a person. It can agitate a person. So uh, so therefore, it can agitate a person, very badly, very badly. Uh, uh, so we see everything is contagious. In a community, everything is contagious. Like in a community, one person is enthusiastic, everybody starts feeling. Like suppose it is being asked, okay, this marathon, how many books you are going to distribute? And you are thinking maybe 50, maybe 100. Somebody is thinking 10, somebody is thinking maybe, this year I'm a little busy, you know, you know, uh, somebody is thinking, uh, let me see, how much, let me see, like that. And the community, one devotee, raises his hand and he says, I am going to distribute 5,000 Bhagavad Gitas. Yeah? Yeah? And now everybody will get a turn to speak. Now it immediately creates a tension, a dynamic tension. Okay, we may be thinking of speaking five, yeah, and now the slab is 5,000, so 5,000, and this devotee might have come 4 years later to us in Krishna consciousness, he's saying 5,000, and now one immediately that figure five, will immediately get escalated up. You see how the enthusiasm gets. So now nobody can say 510. Can anybody say 510 then? Can anybody say? Everybody will say, whoa, 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 this child is distributing 5,000, he will distribute 5 Bhagavad Gita. Senior devotee. TC member, again, like that, So, so you see the point, no? So very nice, Uh, uh, but this happens the other way around also. Suppose one is thinking of saying 1,000, and the person just before he says, I'll distribute 10 Bhagavad Gita, you know, and he's a senior devotee, probably his mentor, mentor is saying 10 Bhagavad Gita, and now this person, he was thinking 1,000, but then he was thinking maybe, my mentor is distributing 10, so, so immediately the 1,000 will get reduced, Now will he say 1,000? He won't say 1,000, So this Prabhu is saying 10, other Prabhu is saying 5, He'll say, okay, I'll distribute 2. I also have enough things to do. So as far as sense gratification is concerned, everybody has enough things to do. Is it not? So everybody is very busy. Therefore, everybody is very busy. So, everybody thinks everybody is very busy because sense gratification, there's so many avenues for sense gratification for everyone. So you see, this enthusiasm is very contagious in both directions, actually. In both the directions, actually. So that is why one has to be very, very careful. So this is like rivers. We get affected by what is happening. Uh, we get affected by what is happening around us. So these two are very powerful forces: the river swelling and the winds blowing, and it can come very, very powerfully and very greatly. It can agitate us. So this material world is very, very uh, ferocious in the sense that it creates every single day. It creates newer and newer waves of forgetfulness. The illusion works through forgetfulness. Yeah, and so when it comes to sense gratification, person forgets that one is a devotee. You know, uh, so because it creates newer and newer waves of sense gratification. Like that. The sense gratification is like that. So sense gratification comes, person forgets who one is. So these newer and newer ways of forgetfulness are created. Uh, uh, Newer and newer ways of forgetfulness are created. Like that. Just imagine if you get a mail 1st January 2025. If you get a mail, say from a Western-based company, they are giving you job offer. They are giving you job offer. Uh, or $1 million a month. Sorry, $1 million a year. Let's not be hyperbolic. They're getting $1 million offer in a year. Like that. So how will you feel? You know, how will you feel? Will you feel proper birthplace? I need to do service. Our Abhay Tirtha new project is going on. Let me do college preaching sitting here in. Will you think like that? Uh, will you? So one will say immediately, yes, Haribo. No, no, is it not? And immediately one will take it. One will forget one's identity. One will never question, oh, sorry, कितने घंटे काम कराएंगे. Where is the center located. How far is ISKCON temple from there. How big is that ISKCON temple. Some ISKCON temples may be smaller than our building. The Western world. Like that. So how many devotees. Like one of our devotees went to Belgium. That ISKCON temple, there is only one devotee, and that is the only temple in the country. You know, only urban, suburban temple in the country. There is a farm, but there are no temples in the cities. So the only temple in the country run by one devotee. You know, hats off to that devotee. He's a single man. Standing for Prabhupada. In a complete country. In a complete country, can you imagine? They make movies. One man in a country trying to face a war. Like that. This single man standing for Prabhupada. And preaching. Like that. So he's himself doing Mangal Aarti, he's himself doing Pujari service. He's himself cooking. He's himself preaching. Can you imagine? Are we ready for such a kind of proposal? Like that. If you are ready, I can talk to the Radheshyam Prabhu and through Radheshyam Prabhu GPCs. A lot. That, yeah. That way, you see the point. But one will be ready, and one will no, and one will no. So one will forget one's identity. Is it not? One will forget one's identity. One will not think that okay, I'm supposed to be devotee. One will not think, array, whether I'll be able to finish the morning program, whether I'll get prasad, whether I'll get some service, nothing. Who comes there, which Maharajas comes there, where whose association I'll get. That will not be a consideration only. Is it not? Because the overwhelming consideration is $1 million. ठीक है, like that. So Bhaktivedanta Maharaj was telling, even if somebody gives me millions of dollars, I will not exchange my situation. He had melanoma, stage 4. He said, I will not exchange my situation even for $1 million you know, because we have been given so much by Srila Prabhupada. We have been given so much by the previous acharyas. And I'm in the most fortunate situation. I'm in melanoma stage 4. I'm dying. But I know that I am not dying. You know, but I know there is eternal life waiting for me in the spiritual world. And therefore, my situation. Uh, I'm not going to exchange my situation for millions of dollars. Bidi Swami. It's my situation. I'm not going to exchange. In the melanoma stage 4. So that is the point. One time I was sitting in Bangalore, and I was about to write my resignation letter. I was working in Sapient Technologies or whatever, Sapient something. Uh, so and I was about to go to join Brahmachari Ashram in Pune under Ashram Babu's shelter. And I was typing my resignation letter. And I was, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Like this was going on, like that. All of a sudden, there is a company messenger ping, from some, you know, uh, you know, some high-profile HR guy, uh, and he pinged me, how are you? I said, I'm ecstatic. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. I was ecstatic actually because I was about to join. I was going to the temple. I was doing. Dry shampoos company, no sapient company, you know. So like that. So uh, so this guy he said, okay, your uh, he said we we have very good reviews about your work, and you've been working for Sapient very nicely and all. I knew that, I have good reviews. I knew that, my work profile was very good. I knew that, so that I knew, so I said it's okay, I mean, so I didn't respond to that, and then he said we have an urgent requirement, you know, in United States, off to Buffalo, Uh, Buffalo is on the border of Canada, East Coast. East Coast it will be, I think, 4 5 hours drive, Krishna willing, if you get an opportunity to open a discount center there, Buffalo, Alabama, they're towards Canada, towards and Boston is very close to Toronto and Montreal, Toronto, like that. So just in between, the Buffalo, Alabama comes, and then Buffalo comes, like that. I was just thinking where all we can open ISKCON centers, sitting in Boston, like that. So Buffalo comes there. Otherwise, I was wondering later, because I used to hear Buffalo a lot, in CPN, So, so they said uh, it was a Tuesday. Uh, they said we have H1 visa. Friday is the flight. H1B, off you go for 1.5 years, all the best, everything is ready. Just 3 letters are required. YES, just 3 letters are required, YES, and so how do you feel? Just imagine yourself sitting in that situation, you may not be typing your resignation letter. You may be sitting and you can see the finger there, like that, and so yeah, people die to get H1B, they're ready to spend $200,000 or $2 lakh, $3 lakh, to just do a master so that they can get a job, and then so that they can get an H1, uh, H1, so it was like that actually. So Maya attacks very strongly, Maya very strong, like that. I saw myself also. So what was my state, so my my hands were paralyzed. I was typing my resignation letter, I could not, you know, for half an hour I could not, move the key. I've seen in Dehradun, sometimes it would be, ice cold temperature, and we had to go to school very early, like that. The hand will be frozen. The teacher is teaching something, you cannot write. You cannot write, The teacher is teaching, you cannot write. It's come on, it's 2 degrees centigrade, or it's -4, and you just cannot, it's 7 o'clock in the morning, and the first hour class, till 10 o'clock, the hand would not move. It was very difficult. The hand would not move. Like that, my situation was, frozen, like that. So somehow I remembered Ranand Maharaj. Somehow I remembered Radhesham Prabhu. And then I, sang Nursing Arti, I got some courage. And I just wrote to him, you know. Uh, I just wrote to him one line. I'm typing my resignation letter, Like that I wrote to him, He just wrote NP, and he said a smiley, sent a smiley face, and that's all. No problem. No problem. Like that, So then that was so the point is that the waves of this material world, one may forget one's identity. One may forget one's identity, who we are. What should be the goal of our lives? When in the dead of the night, the stormy weather, that lady came to the ashram of Jaimini Rishi. We have discussed the story before. The Jaimini Rishi, that lady came, and uh, that lady came to the ashram of Jaimini Rishi. What an agitation it created. So she was asking for shelter. So Jaimini Rishi had only one room in the kutir. So he gave her the kutir. He said, "I'll be out." You know, and so he was in good sense. So he said, "Okay, you can use the kutir for the night. I'll be out. No problem. We are sadhus. We're used to austerities. Like that." But he had some sense at that time. So he told her, "You lock the door from inside. You know, uh, and don't open it. Whatever happens. Even if I tell you to open it, don't open it." She said, "Arey, you're my spiritual master. Whatever you say, I'll do. He said, "No, no, no. Follow what I'm saying now." She said, "Okay." She was outside. You know, but then he was not able to chant, not because of the cold and the weather, but because of the agitation. Like that. So he was not able to sleep, not because of cold, but because of the agitation. And at one point, the agitation was so intense. Gemini Rishi, he started banging the door. And the lady from inside, that Mataji, she said, "What happened? He said, "Open the door." She said, "But you only told not to open the door." He said, "No, I'm telling you now, open the door. Follow my instructions." She said, "No, you told that even if you tell I should not open, I'll not open. So she was intelligent lady. You know. Gemini, she was checkmated. Like that. So you see, it went so intense. He was not able to tolerate. He climbed up the roof. He removed the husk and then he jumped and landed like that. Inside. So I so strong. So he forgot he was a rishi. You know? He forgot he was a rishi. Is it not? He forgot he was a rishi. And he was going. So this lady was sitting. And her head was on her knees. So he couldn't see her face. Like that. So he went. He was going forward to touch her. You know, like that. So he went forward to touch her. And I think it touched or he called her or what. And that lady, picked up her head. You know, and out there he saw it was not the lady. It was Srila Vyasadeva. No, yeah, spiritual master. So you've seen the story. You've seen the story, but you see, he forgot. Is it not? How could he give that first instruction when that lady came? Because that time he was remembering who he was, and he's a rishi. He was remembering his spiritual master. But then, because of that agitation, he forgot who he was. So in the morning, he was telling Vyasadeva, so what is Maya? Vyasadeva said, so much confidence. Right, only if elder. Yes, they did the test, they show them. I'm very strong actually. So none of us should think, even an ocean is agitated, what to say first, Even an ocean is agitated, what to say. And therefore, Prabhupada is telling here that one should remind oneself of one's connection to the spiritual master multiple times a day. Only if one makes one remind oneself of one's connection to the spiritual master, throughout the day. One should remember one's spiritual master throughout. Then only one will be saved from this agitation which this material world creates. Otherwise, there is no other hope. These agitations are very, very strong. Even an ocean would be agitated. What to say of all of us, actually. It's up here for me. Grantara Shivam Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.